What if I told you there was a war so important that it changed the world you live in today, but almost no one talks about it? Not World War I. Not World War II. A different one. And here's the crazy part: by the end of this video, you'll start noticing how this forgotten war is still affecting the world around you even right now. Let's go back in time. History is kind of like a giant storybook. Some stories are told over and over again, big, loud, dramatic ones. But other stories? They get pushed into the background, almost like they don't matter. This war is one of those hidden stories. It didn't have a simple good guy vs bad guy plot. It wasn't easy to explain. There were many countries involved, and the situation kept changing. So instead of trying to explain it, people kind of stopped talking about it. But here's the surprising part: while everyone was focused on other wars, this one was quietly changing everything behind the scenes. It's like being in a classroom where two kids are loudly arguing, and everyone is watching them while something really important is happening quietly in the corner and no one notices. Now you might be wondering, why don't we learn about this in school? Because it's complicated. There wasn't just one battle. There were many small conflicts happening at the same time. Countries kept switching sides. And no one was completely right or completely wrong. And when something is messy and hard to explain, people often choose the easier stories instead. But here's where it gets interesting: that complexity is exactly why this war was so powerful. Because it didn't just happen and end. It started a chain reaction. Think about a line of dominoes. You push the first one, and it knocks over the next and the next and the next. At first, it seems small. But suddenly, everything is falling. That's what this war did. It changed who controlled land. Some empires became weaker. New countries started to rise. And those changes didn't stay in one place, they spread across the world. Decisions made during this war created problems that didn't go away. Instead, they grew over time. And here's the important part: some of the problems we see in the world today can be traced back to those exact decisions. Now let's talk about the people. Because wars aren't just about maps and countries, they're about real humans. Families had to leave their homes. Children lost their parents. Entire communities disappeared or were forced to move somewhere else. But because this war wasn't famous, their stories didn't get told very much. Imagine going through something really scary and life-changing, and then no one remembers it. That's what happened here. And it shows us something important: history isn't just about big events. It's about the people who lived through them. Now here's another big idea. This war wasn't just about fighting, it was about power. Countries wanted more control, more land, more influence. They cared about important things like trade routes, natural resources, and strategic locations. But here's the twist: many of these decisions weren't made openly. Leaders made secret agreements. Some promises were broken. Some countries pretended to be friends but were actually planning something else. It's kind of like playing a game where some players are making secret moves that no one else can see. And those hidden decisions caused long-term problems. Problems that didn't disappear when the war ended. One of the biggest changes this war made was to the world map. Borders were redrawn. New countries were created. Old ones were split apart. But here's the problem: these borders weren't always drawn carefully. Sometimes, people from completely different cultures were forced to live together in one country. Other times, groups that belonged together were separated. It's like drawing lines on a map without really thinking about the people living there. And as you can imagine, that caused conflict, arguments, tension, even more wars later on. So when you hear about countries having problems today, there's a good chance those problems started because of decisions made during this forgotten war. Now let's connect everything. This war didn't just affect its own time, it helped shape the future. It created rivalries between countries. It formed alliances. It left problems unsolved. And those problems didn't just disappear. They grew. It's like ignoring a small crack in a wall. At first, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But over time, it gets bigger and eventually, the whole wall can break. That's what happened here. Later wars, the big ones everyone knows about, were often influenced by what happened in this one. So even though this war is forgotten, it played a huge role in shaping the wars that came after. Now here's a question for you. If something this important happened, why don't we talk about it more? Because simple stories are easier. It's easier to explain a war with clear sides. It's easier to teach something that fits neatly into a lesson. But real history isn't always simple. And when we ignore the complicated parts, we miss important lessons. Even today, we see similar patterns. Countries competing for power. Disagreements over borders. Leaders making big decisions behind closed doors. Different time. Same behavior. And that's why this story matters. Because the world you live in right now, the countries on the map, the news you hear, the conflicts you see, all of it has been shaped by events like this. It's not just something that happened a long time ago. It's still connected to your life today. Think of it like a puzzle. At first, you only see a few pieces, and nothing makes sense. But when you find the missing piece, suddenly, everything becomes clearer. This forgotten war is one of those missing pieces. It helps you understand why the world is the way it is. So here's the big takeaway. The most important events in history aren't always the loudest or the most famous. Sometimes, the quiet ones, the ones people forget, are the ones that shape everything that comes after. And once you start looking for these hidden stories, you begin to see the world in a completely different way. If this made you think differently about history, you're going to love the next video, where we uncover another hidden story that explains even more about how our world became what it is today.